Oh, that's real nice.
Oh, welcome back to another episode of Achievement Cleanup Detail. Now, if you don't know what this series is, it's me going back and finishing up games, getting all the achievements, or the best I can, in games I started a while ago and dropped for whatever reason. Maybe it's just I didn't like the game, I was just doing it for true achievement challenges, or something just gets in the way. I had some problems with this one just because I was focused on going back on 360 games, but when I was starting it, for some reason I couldn't sign in on backwards compatible games on my Xbox Series X, so I had to kind of scramble and add in more games than I was planning on, but eventually it started to work again. So that's why it took so long, but we got 8 games here. We'll get into it with Botany Manor Windows version. I started the PC version on April 29th of 2024, just a week after I finished the console version, and just ended up playing maybe 30 minutes of the PC version, then stopped. I'm missing 30 achievements here. Most of them are story related and some are miscellaneous. Probably wondering why the PC version has 120 points more than the console version. It was missing some achievements, so they added them back in with the title update. Now this shouldn't take too long because I would be following Mecha 91's guide again like I did for the console list. Puzzle games usually aren't my thing. I got this done under 3 hours. If you don't know what Botany Manor is, it's a first-person puzzle game where you walk around the manor finding clues about how to make forgotten flora in the book you're working on. It's a nice chill puzzle game, which shouldn't be too surprising because it's published by Whitethorn Games. Since I used the guide, I can't really comment on the puzzles itself, but from what I gather and how it's explained, there was only one puzzle that could be tough. I wouldn't have played this if this wasn't in Game Pass, and I'll link the guide and other guides below I use from other games in this video. So if you haven't touched either stacks of these games, you should check them out. It's still in Game Pass. Botany Manor Windows had a time difference of 48 days. Not the longest, but we got some super long ones in this video. I can't believe I started Hellblade in June of 2018, then 2 years later, in 2020, beat a boss and then never touched it since. I'm only missing 12 achievements here, and 11 of them are story related. The last one is for getting all the lore stones, which many people seem to miss. Thankfully, this got an update for the series consoles that added chapter select, and it will tell you if you missed any of the lore stones in the chapter. This game should take 5 to 6 hours. I do want to try to do the Windows stack before Hellblade 2 comes out. I did finish Hellblade 2 before the sequel release, but I didn't even get close to starting the PC stack of the first game. I do like this game, but for me the combat ruined it, and I'm glad the sequel made the combat more one-on-one instead of a 3 or more at once. Sure, the voices tell you when you're about to get attacked from off screen, but it was kind of hassle for me in some spots. Other things are the puzzles. They definitely wore out their welcome, and the backtracking was quite annoying. The story was what kept me going, and for the game for 2018, it looked great. Since the achievements were story-based, save for one, it was a breeze. Thankfully, when the game got the patch, they added that chapter select in, so you can get the lore stones easily. I did my fair share of exploring, and it paid off because I only missed like 4 or 5. So it didn't take that long to clean up. I'm still debating if I should go complete the PC stack since it's an easy 1K and it'll probably take like 6 or 8 hours to do. I might just follow the lore stone guide as I'm playing it, just to make it easier. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice had a time difference of 2,166 days, which is almost 6 years. So this bed we made, this one is the one I finished first actually, when the 360 Live was bugging out. so I had to scramble. I saw on True Achievements that people were getting to completion, because back when I played it, there was some broken achievements, but the developers fixed it recently. So I went back and cleaned it up. Thankfully, a user on Steam made an excellent guide of how to achieve all the endings, which I needed. Some of them to require you to be a bad maid, others you need to be a good maid, with certain objects taken or left alone or thrown out. Once you have all the puzzles and know where the key items are, multiple playthroughs go by pretty quickly. I did miss some miscellaneous stuff too, but that was easy on the way to clean up. I would recommend playing this once for yourself and mop up with a guide. If you want to hear more about this game, I do have a review up on my channel. I'll link it down below and put a little card up here. The time difference for this bed we made was 99 days. This is the start of the 360 games I wanted to finish. I started Juju back in December of 2020 for a challenge on TA with only 2 achievements unlocked during that year. And then 2 years later, unlocking 2 more. You can tell I didn't really like this one that much. I'm not much of a platformer guy outside of Nintendo games or other easy gamerscore games. Thankfully, this one only has 19 achievements, so hopefully it won't be too bad. You just have to beat the game, collect all the coins, and play a level in co-op. Did you know this was made by Flying Wild Hog? You know, the developers of Shadow Warrior and Evil West? Wild to think about. Juju is a side-scrolling platformer with no real attack besides jumping and dashing into enemies. The moment-to-moment gameplay isn't too difficult, and it's pretty easy platforming. The harder parts of the game are the hidden portals, where you have to collect all of the crystals under a time limit to grab a coin, and there's 3 of them in each level. There's only a couple of variations to see, and some are easier than others, but if you fail one, the door disappears, and the only way to try again is to die and hope for the checkpoint is before the door, or reset the level, or just continue on and get it in another run. Bosses are a real pain in this game, especially the last boss with difficulty spike. That took quite a while. Thankfully, you do get some heals during that fight. You want to not get hit as many times and leave the heals for when you really need it. You also have to do these speedrun levels that are annoying because the precise jumping, and you have to do towards the end. I'm glad this one is done and put behind me. Only a difference of 1,254 days, just under 3.5 years, so not too bad. Return to Grace is a fantastic game. I really loved it when I played it back in February, early March, when it dropped into Game Pass. I got 26 out of 35 achievements on my first playthrough. The design of the achievements are really well done, even if you have to play through multiple times, but thankfully there's a great save system, so you don't have to make it complete full runs. I should have done this sooner, but stuff gets in the way. I just had to see the different endings and make some different choices and grab the collectibles. I think when games require multiple playthroughs, a lot of achievement hunters skip out on this, just because of how long it takes. And now, me personally, I do not like having multiple playthroughs because I got so many games to play. But this one was not that bad. You can easily speed run the game, since some runs you don't even have to look at everything. And once you do one run of just playing through it without a guide, you know nothing about the game, and just soak in the atmosphere and look at everything and like engage yourself in the story. So those other runs you can just breeze through. Maybe like 40 minutes you can beat this if you're really rushing it. This is a walking sim, but that's not a bad thing. Most of the ones I play are great or decent. The beginning of the game has a great hook, and if you like space and sci-fi, the voice acting in this is great. All the characters are distinct, and they grow on you. This one you should definitely play, and just not for the easy achievements. The time difference for Return to Grace was pretty short with 103 days. Don't be afraid. This was another one I just threw in here because of the live was messing up. I started this of October of last year and I was planning on making different videos with it, but I eventually scrapped that because other games got in the way. I think I only played like 30 minutes at first since I only had 2 achievements. Probably gonna use a guide for this one so I can get it done quicker. Following the guide was the right choice. Since this game has multiple endings, you play as a kid that was kidnapped by a killer, and you're trying to escape his basement and get back to your mother. It's a slow walking game with some slight puzzles, and you can die in one hit if the enemies get to you, but it's got some good checkpoints in that regard. The atmosphere is pretty good in the game. It does rely on some heavy jump scares, but it wasn't that scary. I think if you're into horror games, you might like it a bit. The achievements probably take around 3 hours with a guide. Some of the puzzles were annoying too. I'm glad I finished this one also. Don't Be Afraid had a time difference of 240 days. For Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon Xbox 360, looking at the unlock dates, it's pretty weird. I started this in February of 2014, got past the intro mission, then didn't play it again until April of 2014, and then nothing. Now, I'm pretty sure I was playing this and not liking how it looked. I don't know if I was playing on 360 or on the backwards compatible stuff, but I'm pretty sure it was like on the 360. This is a Far Cry game, so I should be liking it. I'm a big FPS guy, and Far Cry games are pretty good. The achievements are pretty straightforward, and you may say it's a waste of time because there's only 317 gamerscore to grab, but we want completions more than score at this point. The map isn't that big, and the only reason I'm doing the 360 version first is so I can play the classic port that came out on Xbox One and PS4, which was tied to one of the gold editions of one of the Far Cry's. That's how I got it, but I think you can buy it separately. I feel dumb not finishing back when I started it. This is a great bite-sized Far Cry, fun story, fun guns to use, easy to find all the collectibles since you can buy maps in the shops. I'm grateful for Ubisoft for doing that, even though they got like so many collectibles, but if you can put them on the map for us, that's great. Not many hard achievements besides owning all the weapon attachments and killing 25 dragons. I did waste some money on buying ammo. That's a mistake I won't be doing again in the classic version, which as I'm recording this audio, I'm actually started playing it yesterday just because I want another FPS game to play. Just mindless shooting. The achievement names are pretty great. It's a great game. I'm glad I finally played it. Now, the grinding out for the money at the end was kind of really annoying. Same with the killing the 25 dragons. But once you get all the most of the upgrades, it becomes faster. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon probably has the longest time difference with 3,718 days, or just over 10 years. Now, this is one you may think, like, you haven't played this game before, and yeah, I never played these. I'm not usually a point-and-click guy, but as time goes on, I like try to play some different indie games, and some of them are point-and-click adventures. But I only started this one because it was an easy achievement for a 2 achievement challenge back when I started it. Only 11 achievements and 195 gamerscore to grab. This could also be seen as a waste of time, but unfinished games really bug me a lot when I'm looking at my gamer card. So I'm just trying to finish games more consistently, but sometimes I just play a game and stop, and then drop it, and other games come out, grab my attention. Now looking at the achievement list, there is a speedrun achievement, and it has 2 endings, so I'm not sure if I want to make use of a guide to make this quicker, but we'll see. This is a fantastic game. I'm glad I played it, and once I finished it, I wanted to go directly into the second game. Now, I did play to the end without a guide, and that took like 5 or 6 hours. But I stopped there and used the guide to beat the game during the speed runs. So, just so I can finish the game faster. One complaint I have is the controls. They're a bit confusing at first. Of having to, like, if you need to give somebody something, you have to pick the give option and then pick it up and then do all this stuff. I know it's like a PC. It was a PC game before, so putting it onto a controller with not a lot of buttons, it makes sense why they did the controls that way. And getting all the insults for the fights took a very long time. I was only missing like 1 or 2 and I just couldn't do it. And that took a lot of time away.
That stuff's great.
Some of the puzzles were stumping
out,
me,
Woodchuck.
where
There's
you
a
need to
new
get some
sheriff in
stuff.
town, and his name-
And it was confusing, but I ended up getting it done. This game is funny, and I can see why it's a classic. I may start the second one pretty soon, and I'm pretty sure that second one also has a speedrun achievement, but I'm just not a big fan of playing multiple run-throughs of a game, even though I can play different games. In the meantime, this game also had a big time difference of 2,765 or 7.5 years. So I finished 8 games this time. Now I always say, oh, these videos are gonna take less time than before, but I gotta stop saying that because just playing all these games and like the games are gonna get longer, and stuff like that. But I'm not going to commit to a time frame for this one, but if you like achievement videos like this, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I play a bunch of indie stuff, AAA, and my channel is mostly focused on achievement related activities. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.